We are live, sir.
Good evening, all. Good evening once again. Welcome to Online Dentistry's yet another webinar. This is the exam alert session 2 with orthodontics and endofacial orthopedics today. Just give us a couple of minutes more time. Once we enter everyone in Zoom, we'll be soon starting the intro session and a big announcement also today. So kindly be patient for a few minutes more. While you listen, just wait for the Zoom to stabilize. During this time, you can just listen to the upcoming programs. Please note the dates of the upcoming programs. Just watch this video regarding the online industry's hectic schedule coming in this week and next week. So many free programs are coming and useful programs are coming. You can update yourself, you can refer your friends so that it will be useful for them. So just listen to this video with our latest upcoming programs. Just give us a couple of minutes more time, maybe 2 minutes more time. Once people have entered, we'll be starting pretty soon. So good evening once and all. Thank you so much for coming for this second session of exam alert exclusively for the students who are appearing for the examination purpose. The online dentistry has started this wing. Thank you for the enormous support that you have given. So online dentistry is a firm started by both of us, myself, Dr. Joby Peter. I am a professor and head of the department in pediatric and preventive dentistry, Anur Dental College, Moatibura. I also work as a consultant in multiple clinics, and my friend and partner, Dr. Binuch Abraham, is an orthodontist practicing in Alva, in Kerala Dental Clinic. We both have started this firm in 2008 as online dentistry, but we never did any online programs until recently in 2020, March 23rd, when the first lockdown was declared. From there, support of the faculty, support of the clinicians across the globe has made us to grow into around 52 countries now. We have members from 52 countries across the globe, and our statistics are increasing. Thank you for your referral, support, and guidance that you have given to us. We have grown as offline centers. I told you 2008 we started. So we went on as offline centers from single point to 10 centers in across India. And we have representatives in all the parts of India like Delhi, Gujarat, we have Karnataka, we have centers, and Maharashtra, we have centers. Tamil Nadu, we have multiple centers, and we basically are from Kerala, the God's own country, and our center, head office, is at Alua, Kochi, which is a small town on the banks of the river Periyar, which is a pilgrim center during the time of Mahashivaratri. And if you all are welcome to our centers when offline programs are going on or any help from other side, you can visit our center. Once this pandemic gets over, you are all welcome to our home center. We have an announcement. We are being telling multiple times, and finally, the lockdowns in Malaysia is being lifted, and in India is also been lifted. So we are planning. First step, we are happy to announce a certified Lincoln University certified program, which is going to come pretty soon, next month probably. It's almost talk is going on because we have been associated with the Lincoln University Faculty of Dentistry, Lincoln University, Malaysia. Twinning programs will start once the pandemic is over and free traveling is established there. But as a initial phase, we are starting with a online program, a day program, which will be soon announced in our WhatsApp group where you are there on the website. Since the pandemic is there, we have suspended all our offline programs, and that's why we are doing free and paid online webinars since the lockdown 2020, March 23rd onwards. I'm happy to say that our application is accepted by Limca Book of Record, and they are scrutinizing it. We have covered now 500 plus webinar since the lockdown, which has been announced in India in 2020, March 1. So soon, you all will be a part of a great achievement done in the field of dentistry as the maximum number of paid and online free webinars done in the fraternity of Faculty of Dentistry during this lockdown time. So it's all our great constant effort which we could do that. And why are you waiting? This week, 16, 2 days after this, sorry, tomorrow, we have a free webinar coming up. An international faculty from Dubai, he's going to come online and going to tell about the importance of anterior composites, veneers, and its application. So must important program. You should not miss this program. And that too, an international faculty, sir, is coming on 16th. Then I will be going on again webinar called Early Management of Crowding with University of Nashin Bhai Patel University in Gujarat, where I will be addressing about the management of early management of crowding. It's also a certified program from the university, and I will be presenting. This is 10 a.m. Please not evening time. Saturday 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. college time. 250, 200 people have registered for the program, and the registration link in the chat box, it will come. It's a free registration. Those who are interested, you can click onto the link and register. And in the WhatsApp group also, we are putting it. So you can register for this certified program on Saturday 19th. And we are so happy to announce that we are associated with Indian Association of Public Health Dentistry, Kerala chapter. And they have come and requested us to start a conference with them. So we are so privileged and proud that they have trusted this on us, and we both combinedly doing a huge conference starting from 19th. More detail about this will be told to you by the conference organizing person. Chairman has come here to address you also. Sir will give you details in the towards the end of my this one. Sir will be giving you detail. And our faculties in online dentistry, our 4 faculties are presenting in this conference as topics. Do not miss those topics presented by our faculty also, and very useful topic. An international conference it is. People are from outside, speakers are from outside, Even students participation, I told you there are 20 to 24 countries people have registered for this conference. So it's like an international conference now, turn out to be there. And going on to our free webinar, Botox in Dentistry, a new arena which a dentist can scope. You don't need an MDS to do a Botox. After BDS graduation, you can even go into this called facial aesthetics. One of the pioneer in India who's doing it for celebrities, sir, is going to come and teach you about what is Botox, what are the uses of this facial aesthetics. Do not miss this free webinar on 27th of June, Sunday evening there. And of course, I told you some paid webinars are going on. The registrations are almost full. Mastering temporomandibular joints, clear aligner in dentistry are all paid webinars, which is registrations are going on. You can go to our website and you see the registration. Those people are interested. Anyway, this is all for the practitioners setup where. And even this is one thing you should not miss. Spreading your wings. What after BDS? Are you tense that my BDS, this pandemic is going to kill my profession? Or am I worried about what am I going to do in India with this? Or is there any scope for doing dentistry? Are you tensed? Are you dissatisfied? Then you must listen to Sir's lecture, 1 day lecture with guest faculties. You must listen to this for spreading wings. What after BDS? Scope in multiple countries like Australia, UK, Canada, US, Middle East, and Asian countries. What are the scope of Indian BDS? What are the scope? You must listen to this webinar. It's coming up. Dates will be soon announced there. And the exam wing of online dentistry, as you all know, today as a part of it, you are attending this. We have started exclusive for the students and a huge support. We have almost 19 WhatsApp groups full almost. And thanks for the tremendous support. This is to support you during your exam time, and difficult topics, difficult concept, experts in the field are coming and explaining it. As a part of that, this week, that means 17th, that is Thursday, another program on conservative dentistry called Indirect Restorations, and all the short essays which are related to this question will be discussed. Do not miss this, because many times this is indirect restoration and the parts in that has been asked as short essays and even long essays in BDS examination. So do not miss that. Ma'am is going to clearly tell you what you need to write to make that essay proper, get maximum marks. So do not miss that. If you are not our WhatsApp members, please do subscribe. Please put your message to us saying what this is my name. I would like to be in your WhatsApp group. We can add you immediately into our WhatsApp group or send you link whether you can add it into our WhatsApp group there. We have social platforms. We have YouTube. Please do subscribe our YouTube connection. You have beautiful program, videos, recorded videos of previous sessions are there. And especially mucormycosis, please do see George Paul sir's 5 minutes of what is mucormycosis. Sir is explaining it beautifully. Please do subscribe our YouTube session. And this is your Facebook online dentistry. This is our Facebook page, and you can subscribe that also. And latest in dentistry is my brainchild, our brainchild it is, and we have around 26,000 members across the world. It is you can subscribe that. You get all updates of latest in dentistry. You will get that. You can be that member also. And this is our website. You can go to our website, can see whatever things that is happening. You can see there. And Instagram, we are the online dentistry. Officially is our Instagram address. Now, this takes me a great opportunity and privilege to welcome the organizing chairman of the great conference, which has got more than 2,000 registration. Imagine 2,000 registration plus still continuing, and 300 plus posters, 400 plus paper presentation. More to talk. I would like to call one of our best friend, supporter, guide, Dr. CVV Pulath, to tell more about this. And you students should not miss this if you have not done this. Over to Dr. CV sir. Can you please tell about what is this conference and how they should go ahead about it? Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Joby sir. Hello, everyone. Hope you are ready for today's session. Dr. Joe, am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right. Can you please type in the chat box what is the shortcut for paste? You know that Control X is cut. You know that copy is Control C. You know that Control Z is undo. But what is the shortcut for paste? Is it Control P or Control V? Yes. Excellent. What is the shortcut for a new slide in a PowerPoint? What is the shortcut for a new slide in a PowerPoint? What is the shortcut to form a new folder? New folder, new slide in the PowerPoint. Friends, this conference is not only related to 100% scientific sessions, but also many other useful sessions like this. Mrs. Smita Harish is handling a session on tips and tricks in PowerPoint presentation. You being BDS students, it is a mandatory skill that you should acquire when you go ahead with your future career, maybe PG or going abroad or whatever it is. Lot of tips and tricks in PowerPoint will be shared by Mrs. Smita Harish. This is one among the scientific session of our conference. The screen which is shared clearly says about the two keynote lectures, the two giants in public health and dental public health. Dr. Sriram Venkatraman IAS. He is the Additional Health Secretary of Government of Kerala. He will be talking about the public health in India, the changes and challenges. It will, of course, be informative. Dr. Mohanan Kunmel, who is the Vice Chancellor of Kerala Health University, is the chief guest for the valedictory ceremony. And our Health Minister, Mrs. Veena George, is the chief guest for our inaugural ceremony. The Specialty Association President and Secretary is joining us as the guest of honor. Friends, don't miss this inauguration and valedictory ceremony, the only two programs which will be there on Zoom Meet, which will be on 19th and 27th respectively. All other programs, the biggest attraction of this conference is all other programs is in a WhatsApp group. You will be added to a WhatsApp group. You can see the chat box where you can click and register for the conference in an easy manner. You will be added to a WhatsApp group. 2,200 registrations crossed till now. The conference is beginning in another 4 days. So please do register. Even first BDS, second BDS, third BDS, final BDS, interns, PG, staffs, faculties, private practitioners, anyone can register. Of course, you will get benefited. Every day, we have a card for the day. We have a tip for the day. We have a contest of the day. We have 2 scientific sessions. We have 10 scientific papers posted. We have 10 scientific posters posted. So it will be an enjoyment. It will be fun to learn for 1 week during Phoenix 2021. I once again request you to join this conference, and the biggest attraction is that it is free of cost. Friends, how to publish an article? If you see the next slide where the list of speakers are given, you will find that there are interesting sessions on how to publish an article. You may be thinking, what is the use of publishing an article being a UG student? My dear friends, when you go for an interview or for a job or while going abroad, recently one of my students called me and told, sir, I had a question during my registration.
While registering for the conference.
Was a question. Have you done any research studies? Have you published any article? Are you associated with any research studies? So this is much valuable when you go ahead in your future career. The conference attending certificate, paper presentation certificate, rather how to publish an article. So publish or perish, the art and science of scientific publication will be dealt by Dr. Subramaniam. And how to write a scientific article. What is aim, what is objective, what is methodology, what is results, what is discussion, what is conclusion. All the stuff will be, it is a crispy session. That is the biggest advantage. In just 30 minutes, you will get an idea just about what is going to happen or what about how to go ahead with. Qualitative research, a session by Dr. Bintu. Innovative ideas for dental public health by Dr. Mahmood Muttadat. Or how to conduct dental camps in the post-COVID scenario. If you have a very good idea, how you can get copyright for that, intellectual property rights. Friends, you know what I did? I just cut a mouth mirror into half and joined it with half of an Explorer. Now I have a copyright. I have a copyrighted device which have mouth mirror in one end and the uh, shepherd's hook of the Explorer at the another end, which can be used for dental public health program.
A simple idea can
Long way. So that session is on intellectual property rights. A wonderful session. Now, you all are teachers. The word doctor came from a Latin word called doctrine. Doctrine means teacher. So once you complete,
you are going to be a teacher.
Either in a college or in your clinic itself, you are going to teach your patients. You are going to give health education. So a teacher should know what are the basic principles of teaching, how to go ahead with interest, participation, comprehension, all those stuff. Dr. Balakrishna will be handling such a fantastic session, which will give an insight not only for the current teachers, also the future teachers. There are various opportunities opening up in government sector where a dentist will be appointed in palliative care. This is a fantastic scope for BDS graduates, upcoming BDS graduates to join government. And if you have done a course on palliative dentistry or palliative care, you can easily get a government job. So Dr. Vivek from GDC Kottayam will enlighten you about how to go ahead with palliative care, the basics of home-based palliative care. This also is just a 30-minute session, but a very informative session. Are you there in social media? Yes, of course. What has to be taken care? The cyber crime. What are the chameleons in social media? What has to be taken care? Any problem in going to Clubhouse? Any problem joining Instagram groups? Any problem in signing up in closed groups? He will enlighten you best about the chameleons in social media. Our sir told Dr. Binu, a fantastic session. Sir, I don't have money to buy a SLR camera. I can't spend that much. No need. Sir will highlight you how to handle your mobile properly and take fantastic photos. The clinical photos, the clinic related photos, your curriculum, your course related programs. Fantastic. What is chi-square test? What is student's t-test? What is ANOVA? Sir, being a final year student, I really find it difficult in my public health dentistry topic. Not only in public health dentistry, in future, you need this when you go ahead with your thesis and other works. So Dr. Arun Paul from KMCT Dental College will highlight you about the fundamentals of biostatistics, which a BDS graduate can understand. In a simple way, he'll highlight you. You know that dentistry, major part of dentistry is preventive dentistry. But I wonder, many of the private practitioners seldom go ahead with pit and fissure sealant, topical fluorides, which is a lucrative profession. Dr. Joby Peter from online dentistry will enlighten you small tips and tricks, not necessarily for a short note. Of course, pit and fissure and topical fluoride is a short note for you, but it will give you an insight how to go ahead in your future practice, how to cajole your patients to get more and more income for your clinic. A wonderful session. Do you know how to compress a YouTube video? You know how to make your YouTube channel income generating? Do you know what are the tips and tricks what you have to take care while you start a YouTube channel? Mr. Sudhir Menon, who is an expert in this field, will give you a full enlightening session how to go ahead with in starting a YouTube channel and how to monetize it. Superb session, don't miss it. Emotional intelligence, very important in this time. How emotion and health is related. How can you overcome your stress? Dr. Harish Kumar will highlight you in the small session, the small steps to go ahead to handle your stress and strains during this period. Friends, 16 sessions, scientific sessions, every day 2 sessions, which will be posted in the WhatsApp group, which will disappear in 24 hours. So you are supposed to attend that day itself. Next day, we have a quiz program based on that. You can win prizes. You have so much of interesting contest and so much of activities happening in that group. So those who have not registered, I kindly request you to register. This certificate will help you to come out in flying colors. Once you finish your internship and come out of a dental college, at least you should have 50 certificates in a file with you, minimum. Online dentistry programs, who will offer you such free programs again and again? Just think, exam alert. It is almost the 8th or 9th free program. So many brains, so many people, so much of time and so much of money is being poured and spent behind this program, all free of cost for the benefit of the student community. I salute online dentistry for their sincere service, and I request all the delegates who are attending this session, please to utilize all the free webinars, even paid webinars. It is worth paying some money and learning something which will fetch you many times of that. Wishing you all the best. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you for the opportunity, Joby sir. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir. So all your candidates, please do not waste a moment and register for that. Thank you so much, sir, for your enlightenment of the lecture. So many good sessions are there. Now, coming to today we have the program, coming to our program today. Today we have the program of Exam Alert, free program called Growth and Development. That is a very important topic in periodontics and even orthodontics. Essay, main essay, short essay, and inside that you can have many short notes also you can have. So Dr. Binu is the CEO of Online Dentistry and also a passionate photographer, a practitioner, and more than that is an international speaker, and his craving to teach is amazing. The way he explains things and to take the classes are amazing. So without wasting much time, let me stop my share and introduce Binu Abraham, orthodontist, to take charge of the next session.
Yes, Javi, thank you very much. Audible?
Yes, Binu.
Audible?
Audible.
All fine?
Fine.
Slide seen?
Yes, Binu.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Dr. Javi. And thank you so much, Dr. Sivi, for coming in and explaining about the conference. Even I am learning new things from what you said just now. It's so amazing. And that too, it's all free. So hats off to IA PhD for doing something like this in this pandemic time, where students can avail excellent certificates after this conference. And all those certificates, like Sivisa said, is only going to be useful in your complete package of CV. Thank you so much, Sivi sir. Are you still here? Thank you so much, sir, for coming into our platform and sharing about the conference.
Yes, sir, I'm here. Yes, sir, I'm here.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. That is crisp. I am learning new things from your presentation. I didn't know that there is somebody talking about PowerPoints and all. That's amazing. Just amazing. I finished my recording on photography, and that meticulous planning, the recording, just amazing. Thank you very much. 8 p.m. exact, I'm going to start my topic. Are we ready? All those who are listening to me, all those students listening to me, can we start today's topic? That is growth and development. Oh, great. Growth and development. A 15-year-old boy took an appointment. Maybe parents took an appointment. So I'm expecting a 15-year-old boy coming into my clinic. 15-year-old boy means what will be there in your mind? Yeah, that long hair, shabby teenager, 15-year-old. And now when this boy walked into my clinic, I got a shock of my life. This is the 15-year-old boy I'm talking about. Guys, this, to be very simple, let me tell you, this is called development. And this is called growth. I just wanted to demystify the whole concept of growth and development. Any chapter in orthodontics, pediatric dentistry you take, you will have this growth and development. Considered as, come on, boring. Development is maturity. It's attaining maturity. It's the quality. It's the quality of growth. While growth is the quantity, the cells multiplying, the quantity. while development is the quality, a step towards maturity. Now, these words, these points, if you can write in your short note or essay, that will fetch you marks. Believe me on that. What is growth? What is development? Development is sign towards maturity. Guys, this fellow is tall. I mean, he is tall. See, I am not short. I would put it that way around. I am not short. I'm a little close to 6 feet. And look at him, 15-year-old. Yeah. I have a 21-year-old son in my house. Nowhere near to this. So we are talking about development and growth, differentiation here. But let me directly come to my topic. Short essay. First short essay, Scammans growth curve. When I talk about Scammans growth curve, many will be thinking, oh, come on, we know all this. I've seen the graph, I've drawn it. Now come to the chat box. All those who are listening to me, come to the chat box. Please write four criteria used by Scammans. 4 criteria used by Scammans. Please write in the chat box. Come, quick. Neural, visceral, lymphoid, genital, general, visceral, somatic. Yeah. Good. So you guys know. Let me tell you, this class is for those people who have no clue what is Scammans growth curve. No clue what is Scammans growth curve. And this class is going to give you some idea what it is, how to get a pass mark in your exam. That's it, pass mark, not 100%. That much I guarantee from next 7 minutes of mine on Scammans growth curve. I am not going to take more than 7 to 10 minutes max on Scammans growth curve. So those who are like experts in Scammans growth curve, yeah, I got Ray saying 200% growth in lymphoid. Yeah, looks like Ray is an expert in Scammans growth curve. This lecture, this class is not for those people who are experts. But for those people who haven't even heard about Scammans growth curve, believe me, next 10 minutes, you will be able to get pass mark in your exams, in your vivas. So Scammans growth curve, you see this graph all the time. My plan is to make you understand what exactly do you mean by this Scammans growth curve. Let's look at it, analyze it properly. Any graph will have an x-axis and a y-axis. Let's look at the x-axis. X-axis is, of this case, 0. 0 means birth. The kid is just born. Congratulations. A kid is just born, 0. And then 10-year-old boy, and then a 20-year-old guy. So the x-axis is nothing but birth to 10-year to 20-year. So when I say birth to 10-year, it's like 2-year, 4-year, 6-year, 8-year, 10. And then from 10, it can be 12, 14, 16, 18, and 20. You can split it up, yeah? But end of the day, what we're talking about is x-axis showing 0 to 20. Y-axis. Y-axis is showing the percentage of growth. Percentage of growth. How much is a kid growing? It's not just kid, the different tissues of that kid growing. Now, percentage, obviously, it's 100%. Yeah, 100% growth means you got 100% growth. I mean, do you expect more than 100% growth here? You expect only 100% growth. So that's 100%. But Scammans growth curve has something called as 200%. That's irritating. I mean, you need only 100% growth. Who needs 200% growth? Yeah, who wants to grow beyond 100%? But that is the lymphoid tissues. When I say lymphoid tissues, we are talking about the adenoids, the tonsils, those will go to 200% and then shrink. How many times have you seen or heard, students, I don't know, heard about 6-year, 7-year kids having a huge tonsil, so huge, but the doctor says, don't worry, by the time he's 10 or so, it will reduce in its size. So what I covered just now is why the Scammans growth curve has something above 100%, when 100% is supposed to be the thing. But Scammans growth curve has 200% just because of one thing, that is the lymphoid tissues. The lymphoid tissues grows to 200% and shrinks. So this is x-axis, this is y-axis, but 100% is what we are looking at. 100% growth is all we are looking at. Now let's look at the lymphoid. Let me put that again. The lymphoid right from birth, boom, it goes, increases, way up to 200% and then comes down to 100%. So that's the lymphoid. Lymphoid tissues grows all the way to 200%, the original size, and then shrinks down to 100%. So that's the lymphoid. Next, so that's a lymphoid. See, why am I putting this with animations here? Because if you can draw this in your exam paper, your evaluator will get an idea that you know your stuff. Now, neural tissues, the nerves, the neural tissues takes a rapid growth from birth, 2, 3, 4 years, rapid growth, and then directly attains 100% by the time you're like in 6-year, 4-year, 5-year, 6-year, neural growth pretty much done. That's the neural curve, the neural growth according to Scammans growth curve. Lymphoid and neural done. I would like to just get a thumbs up from people listening to me. Am I going okay? Or, oh, come on, we know all this, Dr. Binu. Why did you waste our time? Did you get something out of it? At least for your vivas, yeah? So lymphoid, 200% coming down, and the neurals, thank you so much. Thank you so much for this thumbs ups. It matters a lot to a speaker. So let me get that lymphoid and the neural out from the labeling. And let me now come to the next one. The next one is the general growth. General means it's the muscles, the bones, all that. The general growth grows rapidly from 0 to maybe 2, 3, 4, 5, rapid growth, and then it stabilizes, and then after puberty, something like 11, 12, 13, boom, again up and goes to 100%. So general takes a different path altogether. 0 to 2-year, 3-year rapid growth, and then stabilizes, and then after puberty in the range of 11, 12, 13, 14, it slightly changes from boys and girls. Yeah, I'll come to that when I come to the next topic of growth spurt. But this is the Scammans growth curve general part here, which takes care of immediate rapid growth from birth to 2 to 3-year, 4-year, and then stabilizes. And then after puberty, boom, grows up to 100%. That's the general growth pattern. Next, the genital. The genital growth is like from 0, it's like pretty much 0. Very small growth in the genital. No growth happens, I would say, in the genital when I talk about the penis or the breast and all that. Yeah, it doesn't grow at all till you attain that puberty range. Yeah, 11, 12, 13, boom, sudden growth up to 100%. So that's about the genital. If you can get this 4 clear, the lymphoid, the neural, the general, the genital, your Scammans growth curve is almost done, guys. Now, how to remember this? I think the easiest way way back from my undergraduate time, the easiest way I would say is to remember LNG. LNG is liquefied natural gas. LNG tankers will be very familiar for you on the roads. LNG tankers, lymphoid, neural, and general, and then maybe add one more G there. To the LNG tanker, add one more G there. You have LNGG, LNGG. So that's only way I think you can remember this. You have so many other big stuff to remember. Orthodontic short essays are the easiest and the simplest one, I would say, where you can gain mark easily. If you get these simple things cleared, L and GG, L for the lymphoid, N for the neural, and the G for general, and G, the next G for the genital. So if you can look at that LNG in liquefied natural gas, and that, I think you should be done with your Scammans growth curve. Scammans growth curve is never a nightmare. Let me tell you, if you get Scammans growth curve in your exam question paper, let me confess here, this is one question you can get full mark. See, you put these four stuff and draw a graph, which I just now showed you. Believe me, no evaluator can cut your mark. There is no place to cut your mark. But you talk about the rapid palatal expander and all that stuff, they can cut your mark saying that this particular candidate did not cite the right example, this, that. They can do many things, but here they cannot cut your mark. You get 100% mark if you get this stuff clear, LNG with one more G, lymphoid, neural, general, and genital. But I have seen one question recently, maybe 2 years before, I saw a question wherein they, so end of the day, this is it. This is a Scammans growth curve. The lymphoid, the neural, the general, and the genital, LNGG, clear here. But recently, I saw one more question wherein they were talking about in Scammans growth curve, cite the maxillary and mandibular growth pattern. That is a little tricky. Maxillary and mandibular growth pattern in Scammans growth curve. A little tricky there. So let's look at maxilla. The maxilla, look at this dotted line here. The maxilla grows almost like the neural, but a little less, not very rapid like the neural. And the maxilla attains its maximum growth by around 7-8 or so, maximum potential for the maxilla, 7-8 years. That's the maxilla. And then the mandible takes up. So this is the time you take care of the maxilla, okay? Any deficiency in the maxilla, bring it forward. The reverse pull headgear, face mask, bring the maxilla forward. Do it when the kid is like 6, 7, 8. Not after that. After that, it's not going to work. So playing around with the maxilla, this is the time, 6, 7, 8. And then mandible takes something similar to the general growth pattern, wherein it's like pretty much abrupt in the beginning and then stabilizes, and then around 10 years, around 9 to 10 years, mandible takes a huge curve up and then goes to maturity. So if you want to play around with the mandible, for example, a severe class 2 div 1, where the mandible is way behind, you want to bring the mandible forward. The right age to bring the mandible forward will be like 8, 9, 10, I would say. Earlier than that, no point, because the mandible hasn't got that potential to grow. Only when it gets the potential to grow, play with it. Otherwise, don't play with it. So maxilla and the mandible to be marked along with Scammans growth curve is a question many times, so please understand that maxilla takes almost similar to the neural, and the mandible takes almost similar to the general. Little similar, that's all. But end of the day, what they're trying to find out is when to play with the maxilla, when to play with the mandible. So let me summarize Scammans growth curve. I'm done with Scammans growth curve. Let me summarize. How do I summarize? I would say you have to talk about LNG, and one more G, the lymphoid, which takes about 200% and comes down and all that. Neural, rapid growth in the beginning and then stabilizes to 20, and then general, which is rapid growth, stabilizes, and after puberty, again rapid growth. So a reverse S shape, something like an S shape is the general, and the genital is that no much growth, and then the puberty time it increases up. So a nice graph like this with nice labeling and the years of all this. For example, lymphoid, rapid growth up to 8, 9, and 10, and then regresses down to 100%, the age. Neural, rapid growth, 2, 3, 4 years, it's like rapid growth and then attains it. So if you can get those years clear in your short essay, you should be getting 100% mark for a short essay on Scammans growth curve. And do not forget our LNG, liquefied natural gas, with one more G that will take care of that. And then if you get the maxilla and the mandible, yeah, you have to read little more to get that part cleared, but that's also an added advantage when it comes to Scammans growth curve. So I'm getting out of Scammans growth curve, first short essay done without much casualty. I think this class, I never asked anybody to come in video because it's such a boring topic, growth and development. But now I am requesting, if anybody is okay to come in video, I would like to see some faces, just for a change. I would like to see some faces because I'm not seeing any faces here. It's all dull for me. But it is so nice if you can open up your videos and show me some faces so that I know what's going on. I mean, oh, come on. We know all this, Dr. Minu. Why are you wasting your time? So if that is the attitude or you're gaining something out of it, I would like to know. So that's about Scammans growth curve done without much casualty, I would say. Are we okay? Can I go to the next one? Those who feel this is, oh, we knew all this, doctor, give me something new. I suggest quit. Quit. But if you want to listen and go for the next 3 more short essays I'm planning to cover, stay. So second short essay, which I'm planning to cover, is on growth spurt. Growth spurt is pretty much attached to the first one, pretty much, but it's slightly different. So if you get a short essay on growth spurt, oh my God, it's such a common question again on growth. It can be a short note or a short essay or a part of long essay. Long essay, growth and development in detail, long essay. You will have to write all this. You have to write growth spurt, you have to write the Scammans growth curve, you have to write everything what I said just now. So let's talk about growth spurt. Growth spurt is nothing but that sudden acceleration of growth. That boom, you put on the accelerator, the sudden acceleration is called as growth spurt. So why is that sudden acceleration happening? See, growth does not take place uniformly. The growth decelerates and accelerates, almost like our Indian driving, I would say. It decelerates and accelerates. There are periods of sudden acceleration in the growth, and this sudden increase in the growth is termed as growth spurt. So you better write down all these points in your short essay. What is growth spurt? Sudden acceleration in the growth. Growth is not happening uniformly. There are periods of less growth, more growth. And this sudden increase in the growth is termed as your growth spurt. So why is it happening? What is the cause of it? The etiology of it is nothing but the alterations in hormonal secretions. hormonal secretion alterations are the reason for this growth spurts. And mind you, boys and girls have different growth spurts. Very important. So these points which I just now said, sudden acceleration of growth. Growth does not happen uniformly. The growth has its accelerations and decelerations because of the alteration in hormonal secretion, and boys and girls differ in the growth spurt. If this 5 points, if you can write, believe me, you are passing orthodontics. It's that simple. And I know many of the final years sitting here listening to me knows that orthodontics is to be taken as the least one, or you will somehow pass. You read day before you read, you will somehow clear it, but put your complete stress on PhD, complete stress on perio and all, and ortho is nothing. Actually, it is in a way right, but my suggestion is learn professionally. You have come only for one thing, that is to learn. Do that properly so that you will be benefited in the future. So etiology, alteration, hormone secretion. Now, what are the different growth spurts? Just before birth, that doesn't really matter us. So 1 year after birth, and then mixed dentition growth spurt, important. Mixed dentition growth spurt. That is like for boys is different and girls is different. I told you already, mixed dentition. Mixed dentition means what? You have your deciduous as well as your permanent. Girls get the mixed dentition growth spurt 7 to 9, while boys 8 to 11. So there is a small difference there when it comes to mixed dentition growth spurt. All these points has to be there in your answer paper to get marks, believe me. Next comes the prepubertal growth spurt. Prepubertal growth spurt. Again, boys and girls slightly different. Girls 11 to 13, they mature. While boys 14 to 16. Note that down. Very important. These years are very important. That is the changes in the hormonal secretion. So growth spurt, let's talk about the clinical significance of this. Now, if you have a maximum growth of the maxilla, the growth spurt, maximum growth, maxilla, that is the time you should be doing your maxillary expansion and all that. Your rapid palatal expansion has to happen when there is maxillary growth or when there is a growth spurt coming up. Sorry. So you have this RPE, rapid palatal expander. You literally split up the mid-palatal suture, split up the mid-palatal suture and create a wider arch. Can somebody talk about what is appliance used there? Actually, I covered that in my short note session 2 weeks before in orthodontics. Just want to know how many are repeating. 76 Smriti said Sarpe. 76 Smriti, that's a name given there. 76 Smriti says Sharpe. I'll talk about that soon. Sharpe. But 99% of the people are talking about high rise. But guys, if you are final years, let me tell you, this hyrax has one more specific term to it. You want to come to that? How is this hyrax fitted to the teeth? How is this hyrax fitted to the teeth? Anybody there to answer that? Hyrax screw, of course, banded. And 76 Smriti again says bonded. So I need to talk to the 76 Smriti. Oh, that is. Why is it 76, Smriti? I mean, born in 1976? Oh, come on, no way. Banded. Sonal Kasture says bonded. Did you see any bonding there? This is an example of a banded hyrax. I'm going out of my topic, I know that. Did you see any bonding there? Bonding is if you get the whole thing with acrylic and you bond it onto the teeth, it's called bonding. So this is banded hyrax, example of banded hyrax. And then the person who said about Sarpe, I don't know how he or she, 76 Smriti, right? So must be a she, got Sarpe is like surgically assisted RPE. Surgically split up the mid-palatal suture and expand. Oh, it's way above the level. I don't know why she or he came up with Sarpe. Now, we are talking about growth and how to manipulate the palate, how to open up the mid-palatal suture when there is growth remaining. It has nothing to do with surgically assisted rapid palatal expansion. So this is pure hyrax, banded, opening up the mid-palatal suture to get the maxilla split up to widen the maxilla. So, clinical significance of the growth spurt, if you want to split up the maxilla, do that when you know it's a maximum growth of the maxilla. Another clinical significance, very important. Surgical correction. You want to do surgery? That Sarpe who said, you want to do surgery? Do that surgery only after the growth gets over. So that is the importance of this growth spurt. If you're planning to do any surgery, maxillary leaf out, BSSO, the mandibular advancement or mandibular retraction, whatever orthognathic surgery you're planning to do, you know when to do? Do it when the growth is over, not when the growth is remaining, because after surgery, you might see the mandible coming out again. So when the growth is over, you're ready for doing surgery. So another big clinical significance of this growth spurt is you have to finish the growth spurt completely to do surgery. So to summarize growth spurt, I would say you have to have the definition of growth spurt for sure. You have to tell the etiology. Why is it different? That's the hormonal secretional differences. You have to specifically mention boys and girls have a separate thing. And you have to name at least 4 stages of growth spurt. One before birth, after birth, pre-pubertal, the mixed dentition and the pre-pubertal. If you can get all that and write all that, you should be able to get much more than pass mark. I would say full mark, because these are the topics where they cannot cut any marks. Even if the evaluator want to cut any mark, they cannot. So write down all this and also write some examples of the clinical significance are always looked out by the evaluator. Clinical significance. So if you want to play with the maxilla, do it when the maxilla is in that growing stage, on the mandible or surgical part, do it only when the growth is complete. So if you can write all that also in your short essay, you should be getting full mark, I would say. That's about growth spurt. Question number 3. Question number 3, short essay number 3 is bone growth. Little irritating topic again, bone growth. When it comes to bone growth, there are 2 types of bone growth: endochondral bone formation and intramembranous bone formation. Little irritating, but listen to me carefully for the next 3 to 4 minutes. I feel you will get answers to many questions in even pediatric dentistry also. Endochondral, intramembranous, 2 types of bone growth. All this can come as separate short notes, part of short essay, or part of the whole growth and development long essay. It's all expected. So endochondral, intramembranous. Let's talk about endochondral. Endochondral growth. Can somebody come to chat box and tell why is that C so big? Why is that C so big? Can you just tell endochondral? Oh yeah, Roshni Bijan. Oh yeah, everybody knows that. So I think I'm not doing anything great here. People knows all this. No, it's not a mnemonic exactly. Yeah. Anyways, endochondral C, big C, because when you say endochondral, C is for cartilage. So endochondral has a cartilage before the bone is formed. So if you get a question on bone growth and the types of bone growth, endochondral and intramembranous is the two things. And of endochondral, inside endochondral C is cartilage. So please be ready to write that cartilage precursor is there when it comes to endochondral. When intramembranous has no cartilage precursor, it's direct bone. So let's talk about endochondral in little more detail when it comes to an essay. So first formed as a cartilage and then it is transformed into bone, while intramembranous is direct bone. So endochondral means has a cartilage. C, chondral, C, cartilage. Remember that. Now you might have to, if it's an essay, you might have to write a little bit about the basic bone formation also. So you might have to go back to your first year or so to get about the basic mesenchymal cells condensing together in the growth site. The mesenchymal cells condensing together in the bone site, the site of bone formation. And when they condense together, these mesenchymal cells initiate the formation of chondroblast. Chondro, C, cartilage. It's all to do with cartilage. When it's bone, it's osteoblast. When it's cartilage, it's chondroblast. Just get these points here for your exam, for your viva. So, mesenchymal cells condense together and then differentiate into chondroblast. These chondroblast forms the hyaline cartilage. The hyaline cartilage, the glass-like structure called hyaline cartilage. And the hyaline cartilage has an outer covering. Hyaline cartilage has an outer covering which is highly vascular called as, can somebody comment here in the chat box? See, this chat box commenting is just to make sure that people are listening to me. That is it. Nothing more than that. Perichondrium. Perfect. I got it already. I got the answer. So, highly vascular perichondrium around the hyaline cartilage and hyaline cartilage. And this highly vascular area now forms the osteoblast. So, you have a cartilage and over it, osteoblast. Osteoblast, I don't know, you know the mnemonic about it. B, osteoblast. B is for building bone. So if you want to build bone, you need blast, osteoblast. So osteoblast, building bone. So after the cartilage, it forms the osteoblast, which leads to bone formation. So it's a cartilage first, and then over it, layer by layer, you start the osteoblast forming the bone. So endochondral has a cartilaginous precursor compared to intramembranous. Example for endochondral is the cranial base. Cranial base. I'll come to cranial base immediately with my next last final short essay, cranial base. So one example is of endochondral bone formation is the cranial base. Now intramembranous. Intramembranous is no cartilage. Condensation of the mesenchymal cells, all that will happen and directly form osteoblast, which will form the bone. So Remember that you will have to write what is endochondral, what is intramembranous. Endochondral has a cartilaginous precursor, while intramembranous has no cartilaginous precursor. So it is formed by the secretion of the bone matrix directly within the connective tissue, without that intermediate formation of cartilage. Example for intramembranous is your cranial vault, the cranial vault, the maxilla, the mandible. But those who have learned more about it will understand that the mandible is actually an example of endochondral as well as intramembranous, because it has something called a Meckel's cartilage, and then it is intramembranous. So it's an example of both. So let's not complicate it here. Somebody asked me in one of the WhatsApp groups today, will I be covering about maxilla and mandible? I said no. The 4 short essays is more than enough for a night. So I'm not going to go into maxilla and mandible. Let me do that in some other session when I get time. When you guys agree with me that the way I'm going is good and you understand stuff, I will take care of maxilla and mandibular growth soon. But example, intramembranous, vault, maxilla, mandible. So let's summarize this one. What is that? The bone growth part here. How to summarize the bone growth part? What all you should know when it comes to bone growth? You have to talk about the difference between the sorry about that. Sorry. So you have to know about the difference between endochondral and intramembranous. Endochondral, cartilage, cartilage, chondroblast, all related to endochondral. And then the intramembranous, no cartilaginous precursor, directly bone. But I suggest and recommend that you have to read more about the basics of bone formation, like the mesenchymal cells condensing, getting together, the get together of the mesenchymal cells, and the chondroblast being formed when there is a cartilaginous precursor, direct osteoblast being formed when it's direct bone. We have to read more. I would suggest you have to read more on even the long bone growth pattern, the histology of these cartilages and the bone cells and all that, to make this thorough here. But my aim was orthodontic short essay. When it comes to bone growth, you should be able to write something out of this. I mean, okay, one thumbs up will help me. Perfect. Thank you so much. So happy to see that people are listening to me and people are understanding what I'm saying. So next and the last one, I'm almost done. It's a short class. I'm almost done. Last one is synchondrosis. Synchondrosis. What is that? Can somebody come to the chat box and tell what is synchondrosis? Just to know whether you guys are all the experts in it. If you get all the experts in it, just quit. But my personal suggestion is do not quit. Just listen. You will get something out of it. At least for your viva, it will be useful. That's all I want to say. So don't quit. Listen to me for the next, 5 to 7 minutes more. I'm almost done. 4th short essay, synchondrosis. All this can be put together as a long essay, or all this can be split it up into 10 short notes. So up to you. Fusion of 2 adjacent bones by cartilage together. Yeah, good. People know about it. So synchondrosis. Let me tell you, while preparing for this particular short essay, synchondrosis, I actually went back to 1995 when I did my ortho first term final year BDS exam, 1995. And I found out that my question paper in Manipal at that time had this question, synchondrosis, as a short essay. It's a coincidence, but it is there. And from 1995 till last year, it's been there as a short note or as a long essay. Long essay. That's ridiculous to put that as a long essay, but it's happening. And then short notes, lots and lots of short notes on synchondrosis. So what is synchondrosis? See, my time, synchondrosis is defined as a band of cartilage present between at the junction of various bones. I told you bone formation with cartilage first. That's why I put the previous thing, endochondral and intramembranous. So whenever you have a cartilaginous precursor, so you have a cartilage band there, that band of cartilage which remains between certain joints is called as synchondrosis. So it has something to do with your previous question. And you write something in the previous question, you might get some marks. So, and these synchondrosis form an important growth site in the base of the skull. So we are now talking about the base of the skull. Base of the skull means what? I mean, you have the brain here. Brain, we don't need brain because we are BDS people, brainless dental students. We don't have to read about brain at all. So after brain comes our stuff, so-called our stuff. That is the cranial base. So I have my skull here, used way back in 1995 or 1990 onwards when I joined BDS. This is it. Brain, the cranial vault, brain obviously removed because we are brainless dental students. And this is the cranial base we are talking about. Interestingly, this picture was ever there in any textbook you go. You take pediatric textbook, periodontic textbook, orthodontic textbook, this picture is there. Right from my time, 1995, I told you. I had no clue at that time what does this picture mean at all. I even thought about whether this is New Zealand map or something. Yeah? No idea what this means. Almost looks like a group of islands in New Zealand. Guys, listen to me for 3 to 4 minutes. It will help you somewhere. In periodontics, orthodontics, viva, short note, essay, wherever it will help you. So what are we talking about? We are talking about this particular area of the skull, the cranial base, with the vault removed, brain removed and thrown, gone. We don't need it. And then the base, the cranial base. That area is actually this picture. So let me now look closely into this. Listen carefully. You have the frontal bone. The frontal bone, the inner lining of the frontal bone with the ethmoidal bone. The ethmoidal bone. I don't know whether I can get the camera clear here. The ethmoidal bone here. The cribriform plate, the crista galli. I mean, come on, read your anatomy. We are planning to come out with basic anatomy also soon for the first years. So please, final years also, please sit for it. It will only help you, believe me. So that's the frontal bone, the inner lining of the frontal bone, and then goes to the ethmoidal bone. And then you have the whole sphenoid bone. The sphenoid bone, if you look carefully, has something very important. The greater wing of the sphenoid, lesser wing of the sphenoid. And then if you look carefully, it has this area here. Can you see this part here? The pituitary fossa. So the moment you see pituitary fossa, the saddle thing, yeah, now you know that's a sphenoid bone. And then after the sphenoid bone, you have the whole occipital bone. So the ethmoid, sphenoid, and the occipital forming the cranial base. I know this is not new for many people, but at least for those people who hasn't correlated it with anatomy, I hope and pray that will give you some points after what I'm saying here. So that's about the frontal bone forming the ethmoidal, the sphenoid, and the occipital. This is exactly what I showed just now. You have the ethmoidal bone with the cribriform plate of ethmoid, crista galli. Go check it out. What is all that? And then the sphenoid bone, the greater wing and the lesser wing, and then the occipital bone. So, you know what? That particular picture, what I showed you is nothing but this. Look at the frontal bone. And then the inner lining, that's a frontal bone, inner lining of the frontal bone forming the ethmoidal bone. That's the ethmoid. And then after ethmoid, you have the sphenoid bone, which has the pituitary fossa, ethmoid bone. And then at the end, after the sphenoid bone, you have the occipital bone. So this is what we are talking about when it comes to synchondrosis. Cartilaginous bands all started as a cartilaginous band, and then they start depositing bone and widening the cranial base to accommodate the growing brain. That is what is happening right from birth. This is called synchondrosis, and so that's the occipital bone. Just another cross section just to show you what I'm talking about. This is the area I'm talking about. That frontal bone, ethmoid, sphenoid, and the occipital. This is what I'm talking about. Now, let's look at sphenoid bone. I've put the sphenoid bone as a red color. There's a reason for that. A red colored sphenoid bone. Why? Because when you look in front of the sphenoid bone, what do you see in front of the sphenoid bone? What do you see in front of the sphenoid bone is the ethmoid. So that synchondrosis of this joint here is called as sphenoethmoidal synchondrosis. Sphenoid bone joining with the ethmoidal, sphenoethmoidal synchondrosis. Very difficult? Tough? Or you know all this? Ritu Yadav is already sitting like this, gone. Are you okay? Are you understanding what I'm talking about? Or two way below what you already know, or two way up to what you already know? Whatever it is, believe me, it is going to be of some use some point of time in your life. Forget exam. So sphenoid bone in front is the ethmoidal bone, forms the sphenoethmoidal synchondrosis. And then behind sphenoid bone is the occipital bone. So obviously, what should be the name of this particular synchondrosis? Can somebody come to the chat box? That chat box thing is again to make sure nobody's sleeping. So behind or below the sphenoid bone, you have another bone called the occipital bone. So what do you want to call that particular synchondrosis? Spheno-occipital synchondrosis. People know all this. Yeah, why am I wasting time? Okay, so that's about the spheno-occipital synchondrosis. Now, I want to cover two more little bit irritating topic here. We cover two major synchondroses, sphenoethmoidal, spheno-occipital. Fine. Now, within the sphenoid bone, actually, there is something called as intersphenoid synchondrosis. Within the sphenoid bone, there is something called as intersphenoid synchondrosis. But that fuses very, very early in life. Very, very early in life. Something like 3 years, it fuses. So you don't have to really worry about it. But when it comes to understanding or writing the essay, you might have to know about this. intersphenoidal synchondrosis that fuses at a very early age, like 2 year, 3 year. So it doesn't really matter when it comes to orthodontics, but when it comes to short essay, it matters intersphenoidal. And then there is something called as interoccipital. The occipital bone again has an interoccipital one, again ossifies very early. So let's not really worry about it. But why did I show this too? Because if you want to write down in a short essay about all these synchondroses, you better know about the spheno-ethmoidal, spheno-occipital, and intersphenoid intraoccipital. So you got to know about all the four when it comes to synchondrosis. Short note or short essay on synchondrosis, you have to know all these four for sure. There are more, but that is not asked in undergraduate level. Do not worry. Postgraduate level orthodontics, yeah, there are more synchondroses, but let's not go into that. Now, clinical implication. Spheno-occipital synchondrosis. Spheno-occipital, from sphenoid bone to the occipital bone, is responsible for the lengthening of the cranial base. From that foramen magnum to the sella turcica, all that area lengthening happens from that spheno-occipital. Very important, spheno-occipital. So if this is a short essay, you have to write these clinical significance also. The spheno-occipital is responsible for the lengthening. And it's a major contribution of endochondral growth till 20 years. 20 years it takes for which one to fuse, which is the last one to fuse. 20 years it takes for the spheno-occipital to fuse. It's 21 years of the cranial base. So we're talking about the cranial base, we're talking about the cartilaginous band, we're talking about the sphenoid bone, having a synchondrosis with the ethmoid bone, having a synchondrosis with the occipital bone, and the lengthening. All these points, if you can write down, your essay is pretty much done. With this is the lengthening we're talking about, that lengthening between the sphenoid and the occipital. This picture is also there in your textbooks, whichever textbook you're following. I mean, if it's Orthodontic Prophet or if it's Balaji, it's all there in this. These kind of lengthening, these pictures are all there. If you can draw these pictures, it is self-explanatory. Your evaluator, the person who is looking at your answer paper, will get a clear idea that you know what you are doing. Or a picture like this. Yeah, I'm sure this picture is also there in Balaji. It may not be this picture. This is what I animated, but you're talking about those lengthening of the cranial base happening in the synchondrosis by bone formation at different age groups, different years. With that, let me come to one picture here. 5 years, 5-year-old baby. 5-year-old baby. Can somebody come to the chat box and tell me which area have I shown here? Pradosh has chatted saying that, can I talk about postnatal growth of maxilla and mandible? I told you already at the beginning of the class, it won't reach anywhere. I have to talk entirely a different session on maxilla, different session on mandible. Because when it comes to maxilla, we are talking about the cortical drift and the displacement. When it comes to mandible, we talk about the Meckel's cartilage and the safety valve. A lot of stuff to cover. Cannot be done tonight, but I promise it will be done in one of the sessions coming up. No doubt about that. Yeah. So cervical vertebrae, you can say a spheno-occipital, Deepika, and many people have covered that it is the spheno-occipital. Because why is it sphenoid bone? Because you have that pituitary fossa there, so that's a sphenoid bone. And then behind that is the occipital bone. Look at the spheno occipital synchondrosis there on a 5-year-old. Is it fused? Is it fused? There's a gap there. There's a gap there. At the age of, that's a 5-year-old with a gap there. 14 years, look carefully. At the age of 14 years, the sphenoid bone with the occipital bone has started fusing. Started 14 years. 17 years, thin line is seen between the sphenoid and the occipital. 17 years. And as I told you, at the age of 22, it's completely fused. You will not know that there was a synchondrosis there. There was a cartilaginous, there was a fusion joint there. So this is it. About this, these things are not required for your exam. Why I showed these CBCTs is just the CT scan images, just to make you understand the concept of what is this map of New Zealand shown in all the textbooks. That's all. Hope I did my job okay with that concept of synchondrosis. So how to summarize synchondrosis? I would say you have to write that it is a band of cartilage that is remaining. Example for endochondral, cranial base, example for endochondral, which has a cartilaginous precursor. And then the sphenoid bone as the main thing, the ethmoid bone in front, occipital behind, forming these spheno-ethmoidal synchondrosis, spheno-occipital synchondrosis, and then two more irritating stuff. Within the sphenoid, there is this intersphenoid, and within the occipital, there is intra-occipital, but those fuse very early. So write that down, birth to 3 years, it's all fused, don't worry. But you got to worry about all these synchondrosis. This is a common question. I told you it came in 1995 in my question paper. It's still happening. Better understand that map of New Zealand. Sorry, better understand that map of cranial base. That's it. Let me conclude here. Quickly, what all did I cover? Nothing. Just Scammans growth curve, growth spurt. Little bit on bone growth, the endochondral, the intramembranous part, and then the synchondrosis. The four most popular repeated question in orthodontic, short essay, long essay, short note, it's been there. And when you come to MCQs in your entrance preparation, it's always there. So that's it. Thank you very much, one and all. Just want to conclude with the minion statement here. Do not grow up. It's a trap, guys. Do not grow up. It's a trap. Thank you, one and all, for listening to me. I hope and pray that I did justice to the topic given to me. To that small topic given to me called growth and development. I hope and pray that I could let you answer something out of this. Thank you very much. Over to technical team.
Yes, Bina.
Yes, Joby.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, Bina. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Bina. Amazing session, Bina. Very simplified, up to the point. That's all they need to write down there. Thank you so much. If you have any more doubts with regard to the topic, please ask, because sir has clearly told further a lengthy topics will be covered in the upcoming session. So let us stick on to what he has told. If you have any part you have not understood, you want a clarification, you can put in the chat box, or you can come to a WhatsApp group, or you can WhatsApp sir directly. He will be addressing it. So we are getting only thank you so much message. One question that has been come up now. Can you show the CBCT images from first sir?
Sure. 1 second. This is 5-year-old. This is a 5-year-old here with spheno-occipital synchondrosis open. 5-year-old open. And then 14-year almost fusing. And 17-year, you see a thin line there. and 2022 considered as done. Anything else, Ravi?
Nothing more, Bino. We don't have anything from the YouTube also. We don't have much questions regarding to that also.
If you don't get any questions, it can mean two things. They didn't understand a thing or they understood everything. But I feel this is other way around. This just gave them a spark to go and read more. It's my request. Please go and read more on these specific topics, not your textbook. Find out some other textbook. Let me know which textbook to read. Put me in personal WhatsApp. Let me put my number here. Put me in personal WhatsApp. I will tell you what to read extra when it comes to synchrotronsis. And whatever extra you read, believe me, see, after understanding the concept, whatever extra you read is the one you're going to remember for your exam or for your viva. So extra reading, very important. I will tell you what to read. Don't waste your time reading here and there. I will tell you. Do not worry about it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Bino. That's so amazing. And we are coming to the end, exactly 9 o'clock in India. Thank you so much. So be with us tomorrow, Wednesday. Do not miss the program of aesthetics, anterior aesthetics, demystified. Do not miss international faculty coming up. And 17th, we have another program, again, exam alert of conservative dentistry, indirect restorations. Please do refer to your friends and be with us in the team. More programs are coming up. Thank you so much. I hope everyone is safe and sound in your respective place. Good night, Dr. Binu. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.